Welcome to day 2 of the WordPower series. Today we'll talk about the enhancements for communication and language learning. Nancy Inman, author of WordPower Vocabulary Systems, and I will be your presenters. This session will explore a variety of supports built within the files to enhance communication and language learning. Additionally, we will review some fun features to control the environment, and then we will explore many other resources that support implementation of WordPower files. And with that, then I'll turn it over to Nancy to lead us on.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And thanks everybody for joining us. And those of you that were here yesterday, thanks for joining us on day 2. So today is, let's see, okay, so now our webcams are closed, okay. Today is going to be a fun session. So we have the outline is going to kind of show the things we're going to address, but I'm going to be doing a lot of demonstrating today. So some of the smart features that are in the software for writing, for social sharing, for literacy, for texting, and computer integration. And we're going to show voice assist, which is Alexa and Hey Siri, and some additional things that some of them are new, and then some of the things that are about to come. And then the last 15 minutes, Lisa's going to be talking about resources that support these vocabularies. Okay, so the first smart feature of WordPower that I'm going to talk about is the ability to share information by writing. So on the TouchChat NovaChat, there is a feature called Save Document or Save Message that I'm going to demonstrate. And then on the Accent, there are notebooks. So I'm going to scroll over, oops. Oh, why is that not working? There we go. Okay. So this is my iPad with the TouchChat app. And I'm going to demonstrate the Save Document feature. And it's available in a couple of places. So let's say a student wants to save some information. So I'm going to generate a couple of sentences. Oh, let me turn my volume up just a little bit.
All done with my work. I am all done with my work.
If I hit the ABC key, I have this down here that says Save Document. So I'm going to select that. And then what this Save Message tool does, it's going to take anything that's in the message window and save it to one of these boxes. So I hit Save Message, and I'm going to say Continue, and then I'm going to choose where to put that. And now when I clear, and when I come back to that, my document is saved.
I am all done with my work.
So,
what do you want me to do now? What do you want me to do now?
So if I want to put this sentence here, again, Save Message, Continue. So this might be a way that someone could store individual spelling words. You could store written assignments. You can use your imagination to know how you would want to do this. This feature is also available on the groups page where it says Stories and Scripts. And here's an example of you might want to relabel one of these as a shopping list. And so when I think of things I need to shop for, let's say I'm going to go to foods.
Nancy?
Uh-huh.
Can you move a little bit slower? Just
Yes.
with the lag time, it causes a blur.
Oh, sure. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's say we're out of cookies. So I'm going to say cookies.
Cookies.
And then I'm going to say groups and go back down to stories and scripts. Go to my shopping list. And I'm going to save that message here. And then, of course, when you're, now we have lots of options here. We have all these different templates to do this. But if you want to erase something, you can't, you have nothing in your message window now, so you can copy nothing and go here, and then you've erased it. Okay? So that's how the Save Message tool works. Now I'm going to flip over to the new voice pass. And with this, again, I can generate some text.
DIID. You come to the party. DIID, you come to the party.
Did you come to the party? And then we can jump over to the tools and we can go to notebooks. And for those of you who have used Accent and New Voice, you know that we can copy any text from here into a notebook. So if I go to, so first I'm going to copy all. So I've just copied everything in the message window. And it's in my clipboard. And then I go into a notebook and I'm going to clear that. No, I'm going to erase the notebook. Yes. Okay, and now if I say paste my block, so there's the block that I just did. And so you can open and close your notebooks and you can come back to them and you can save the notebooks. And one of the nice things is that you know when you're in a notebook because the background color is different. So when I close this notebook, it says, do you want to save it? I can say yes. And then I can go back to my communication. Okay. So another fun thing to do is to set up a visual scene. And so visual scenes are a way of communicating. It can actually help build literacy, but it's also a way of sharing. And a couple of weeks ago, I built a visual scene with one of my students, and his parents gave me permission to share this with you. So I'm going to share my screen. And so I'm going to go to groups and visual scenes. And there's a couple that just show examples. And so this one we called My Vacation.
I went on vacation to Maine with my family.
So you see the text goes up here. I put a clear display on each one.
We drove to Maine in Daddy's car.
So that you're just seeing the one message.
The water was really cold. We hiked to the top of the mountain. I had fun with my sisters. We climbed the tree. We walked along the Rhode Island shore.
So those are lots of fun. It's fun for kids because they're seeing pictures of things that are relevant in their life. And you can do visuals. You can also build visual scenes on the Print-Q-Run platform.
We had talked a little bit about the opportunity for someone to kind of combine those two things where you could save the message and create that story. So maybe they were saving their messages, so that arrow we could have divided the arrow and made one as a save message and the arrow to go back so that they can write their story and have those images in there.
Yeah. So Lisa, would you put, you'd make one of, let's see. So you're saying that you would make one of these, oops, sorry. You'd make one of these the saved message so that they could, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So you could combine the two. I mean, so you have lots of options for doing that there.
Yep. Okay, another thing that is available on the TouchChat and NovaChat versions of WordPower are different spelling keyboards. So this is a regular QWERTY keyboard that has the word prediction keys here. And then another option would be a spelling keyboard that doesn't have word prediction. So when I did the WordPower 60 basic file, I first did this keyboard, and it had the numbers and it has word prediction. And then some of the feedback that I got was, well, some of these are very beginning communicators. They don't need all of that complexity. They just need the simple keyboard. And so that's another option. And then some people want an alphabetical keyboard. So I thought I would show you how you go about changing your keyboard if you want to do that. Okay. So if we go into edit mode.
Good.
And we go here, edit this button. We can see that right now it's navigating to the QWERTY keyboard. So if I go here and we navigate, and you see here are your different options. You could have an all cap label keyboard because some people wanted a keyboard that looked more like a regular keyboard on a computer. Here's the alphabetical, and there's the regular QWERTY. So like I'll switch it to this one right now. I don't want any animation, and save. So now you see this is the same keyboard, but whether it's uppercase or lowercase, the labels are always capitalized. And just as an FYI, some people may be interested in knowing that this is a time that all the keyboard links all throughout the program, I use a feature called Use Same Key. So in other words, if you're on another page that happens to have a link to the spelling page, you don't have to change that link multiple times. If you change the keyboard once, it's going to change every time. So let me do one more thing here. So let's say, for example, we wanted to put that simplified keyboard here. And I think that is, let's see what that's called. Well, now I can't remember what it's called. Let's see. Beginning keyboard, let's see. It's called beginning keyboard, okay.
So to also let people know what you were doing, so when you went to that page, you were looking for the name of the page. So right now she's going and creating a navigation that will go to that beginning keyboard page, but you need to know the name of the page that you're trying to change. So that's exactly how I go in and look up pages, like to figure out what the name of them are, because then they're in alphabetical order.
Yeah. So Yeah, so there's a regular beginning keyboard, and there's also an alphabetical beginning keyboard. And perhaps I should put, you see what I did up here? I put the period at the beginning of them so they show at the very beginning. That would probably be a good idea. So I'll choose beginning keyboard. And now that takes me there. Okay. Okay, there are also phonics pages. I think we mentioned this briefly yesterday, and I'll demonstrate that. So this is phonics pages with short vowels. So and when you hit the space, it speaks it. And then there's also phonics pages for long vowels. And then the silent vowels are here.
Like.
And the phonics pages are there for both new voice and for the Saltillo. Okay, another thing that's in all of the WordPower files is the smart punctuation. Again, we talked about that briefly, but when you're communicating with WordPower, you should always be able to use the smart punctuation to speak the sentence. So, and actually, I probably should just quickly change this keyboard back because I have the very basic one here.
Okay, and then when you change it back, can you also show where the phonics keyboard was located again?
Yes, The phonics keyboard is actually, you can find it two places. One, you can go here, and then when you go to the beginning keyboard, there's a link to phonics. And then the other place where phonics exists is on the school page. Maybe not. Oh, I know. No, it's just on the groups right here. I was thinking that because on the 25 it's in the school. But yeah, there's numbers and the beginning numbers page, just like there's a beginning spelling page, and phonics, or it can be found on both places. So when you're building a sentence,
Me. Please.
When I hit the question mark, I have the exclamation point and the question.
Help me, please. I really need to go. I really need to go.
And then another feature that I think is a good thing to know about is auto clear. And auto clear is a setting that immediately clears the message window after you speak a sentence. So, and I use it with some of my clients. So, Lisa, should I demonstrate that?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to go into the settings and I'm going to turn auto clear on so you can see that. Okay, it's down under speak, and I'm going to turn it. I usually do it after the next activation. Done. Okay, so now you'll see auto clear working.
Put away your work. Put away your work.
Okay, now I've just spoken the sentence. Now when I hit my next key.
Help me. Help me. Tell me. Something good.
I can also just go to the message window.
Tell me something good.
And then the next sentence will start clear. So like I said, sometimes that's good for beginning communicators. I've used it for students that just, I have this one little boy that likes to just keep putting messages after message after message and then hitting this message window, and then it just was just long gobbledygook. And so we kind of took care of that by turning on auto clear. So I'm going to turn that off now. Because obviously a reason you don't want auto clear on is you may want to have several sentences generated, and after you hit smart punctuation, you don't necessarily want your message to clear automatically. Okay, another feature that the WordPower feature, the WordPower Basic and WordPower Enhanced has on the PRC platform is lock page. And so this is something that came up when I was developing the WordPower 60 basic file. So let me explain that. So pages like describe and time and places are what we call auto close. So if I want to say I'm going to the park to play with my friend,
I am going to the park
it just closed automatically.
to play with my friend. I am going to the park to play with my friend.
So you see the advantage of the auto close, so you don't have to manually close it. But what if someone is learning their places page and they don't want it to close automatically? So in that case, you can go into places and you can select this key that says lock page. And then this page will stay open as long as you want it to until you hit close. So the lock page is on the time page because you might want to do the days of the week and the months of the year. It's on describe, and there's a lot to learn on this page, on these pages. And let's see if it's on, it's not on questions, and it's on people also. Okay, literacy supports, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, the early books to support literacy. And I'll just show you on the new voice. So let's see, I want
to talk to you about my favorite
and I'm going to go to the reading page.
book.
Okay, so oh my goodness, let me switch users. The stories are on the picture WordPower Enhanced. Good, that's why I didn't see it. So I am
reading a book.
And then here, when I select early books, these are the books, Brown Bear, I Went Walking, and these are the book templates. And so there's lots of core built here and lots of blank spaces so that you can add your own books. Okay, Lisa, do you want to talk about this?
Yes, and before we do this, there was, so a question was about being able to share text or submit text. Let's say if somebody wrote a sentence for a homework assignment. And I was trying to think if we were talking about sharing text, which we are coming up. So we'll be able to talk a little bit about that sharing text feature coming up here shortly. So I've been trying to answer those questions. So as far as literacy supports, there's so many words and things that are built into the vocabulary systems. In addition to that, some supports that are available that you will find that support WordPower and WordPower supports would be Getting Ready to Read, which is available on the AAC Language Lab. And it is a literacy program that offers activities with words and sounds and letters, and it guides you right through it. So that's something available on the Language Lab. There's also literacy through Unity, and so the literacy through WordPower is offered for the 60 basic and the 42 basic. Then there's the Tell Me program, which is a group approach to AAC in the classroom, and the first version was in English. There are 11 books, and you'll see those 11 books are supported within the WordPower vocabulary in 60 basic, and then in 60, or picture WordPower 60 enhanced, which is on the accent device. So both of those are supported in that way in the AAC in the Tell Me program. So for a classroom approach, and that's where you'll see a lot of the posters that are used and things that of that nature. Then recently for Readtopia, oh, and what else I wanted to mention about the Tell Me program is it's recently available in Spanish. So some of the books you'll see tomorrow, Nancy can talk about the books that she's been able to include for the Spanish files that support this Tell Me program as well. Then the last one, the Readtopia, recently there were a lot of words that were added to the WordPower vocabulary files that support the Readtopia units, which that's a little bit going from like grade 3 and up, and lots of thematic units within there. And you'll also find some supports that are great to work with Readtopia and lesson picks and the vocabulary system. So having all three together is really a great experience for literacy.
And Lisa, can you tell people how they get Readtopia?
Readtopia is probably most often purchased as a curriculum through, why am I drawing a blank? Don Johnson.
Okay.
So Caroline Musselwhite is part of that, and she's done some presentations on that as well, and they did something together with lesson picks, and it is under, I'll put the link in the chat window once I get it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next thing we want to talk a little bit about is texting. And so first I'm going to talk about and demonstrate texting on the TouchChat app. Okay. So when you go to social, there's a link for texting right here. So if I'm going to just text myself on this, so to show you how to do this. So I'm going to ask a question.
Are you ready to go with me? Are you ready to go with me?
And you see the message has just gone straight in here. And then I'm ready to type my address. Now, you can certainly go in and change your settings on your iPad to make, I did this for one of my clients, but they wanted this text to be larger, this field to be larger. It is going to bring up the regular keyboard that's associated with the iPad. And then, I'm not going to send this yet. You can also add emojis. So if you go to the spelling page and hit Shift, you have a page of emojis. So we all love to add emojis. So you can add whatever emojis you want. And again, when I also have a link to texting here. Your emojis are going to go with you. So that is how texting works with the iPad. I'm just going to point one more thing out, that on this social page,
Awesome.
the emojis under these conversational maintainers, there are
It's cool.
emojis built in here. So, and again, as soon as you hit texting, all those emojis go. And now, I don't know if we talked about this, you know, if you don't want the emojis for some reason, some therapists feel like they've seen it being distracting to their kids, all you have to do is you'd have to edit these keys, and you'd have to get rid of the modifier. So that modifier is what links to the emoji. But I've gotten a lot more people being excited about emojis than saying, I want to get rid of the emojis. But of course, you know, everybody's different. So, okay, and then on the Nova chat,
Let me show you. Let me show you. Where? Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you.
okay.
Let me show you.
So on the Nova chat and on the New Voice, the accent with New Voice, texting works a little differently. On that system, in order to do texting, you have to have an Android phone with the AeroText app. And I was just actually working with a client with this morning. So you could say it's a little more complicated, but also it's a little more advanced. So I'll just put a message together again real quick.
Can I come to your house? Can I come to your house?
So when I hit texting, now mine is not linked up right now to an AeroText app, but you can see you would see all of your contacts if you were writing a message. And the really cool thing about this compared to some other systems is that there's my message right there. So I can use my core vocabulary, I don't really have to spell, to get my message, and then as soon as I go here, that message is part of the message, and your contacts come up and you can send it. And then you get notification on the device when you have a text. And then the system has a way of, if you're not able to read that text, there's a function that will read the text out loud. So I think it's just awesome what Saltillo has done with the texting on their device. And as I said, that accent with New Voice uses the AeroText feature also. Do you want to say any more about that, Lisa?
No.
Well,
Yeah.
the other thing I was just going to say is that we added, there's support videos that Lisa did showing how to set up AeroText with the Nova Chat and on the accent. And so that's part of the handout.
Yeah. And Beth is the specialist for the accent products. So Beth would have done the video for that. But on both of the PRC and the Saltillo and YouTube channels, you would find those videos.
Mm-hmm.
And just doing a time check, we have about 23 minutes left.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is just sharing, the sharing feature that's available with Touch Chat and with Nova Chat. So
I am not done with this. I am not done with this yet.
okay. So so you have a few ways of using sharing. One, you can just hold the message window and you have the option for share. You can turn that feature on and off in the settings. Sometimes that's difficult motorically because somebody might have a hard time getting their finger on that message window. So the other place you can find the share option is on the groups page right here. So if I hit share text, I see the options now. I can take this text that I've just generated, I can send it to email, I can send it to Facebook, I can send it to a text message. I can also, for example, I could go to, if I want to put it in notes, this is a new note and there's my text right there. And this feature has expanded, you know, it's expanded in terms of where you can, where you see all of these are options of places where you could take that text and share it. Okay. And then on the Nova chat, let's see, the next slide is just a picture showing that on the Nova chat you can share to a Google Drive, you can share to Gmail, and you know, I guess in my mind as a clinician, when the Nova chat and Touch Chat came out, they weren't particularly sophisticated systems in terms of computer access and sharing, but I feel like all of that has changed, and there you have a lot of really nice options for sharing text. I'm going to talk briefly about computer access with the accent and New Voice. Right now, WordPower is not available for Empower, but it is available with New Voice. And so several of my clients that use the accent like to use external Windows computer access. And so the great thing about this is that you can be sitting with your device in front of you and you can hook it up to a Windows computer either by Bluetooth or by a cable. And as you're writing, as you're generating your text with your communication device, you can watch that text going to the screen word by word. And when I was working at the school, at the Kennedy Krieger School, we had lots of students that use that feature, and then you can control the computer. So I'm going to jump over to the New Voice. And so if I go here to groups and external windows, so you can see these are, you would have mouse commands so that I could control a mouse as I was looking at it through the communication device. You have web browsers. You can have links to favorite websites. So it's a really nice system for controlling the computer. So that would be external Windows control, and then you also can do external control of a Mac computer, and then there's also internal computer access. And with internal computer access, I'm just going to show a picture of that. So that would be actually controlling the computer within the accent. And so what happens is when you turn that on, you see your computer screen, and then the controls are at the bottom. And of course, the advantage of that is that's all one system. The disadvantage of that is that your screen is only so big. So you have, you have what you're doing on the computer on that screen, and also the controls on the same screen. So, you just have to decide what works for your student.
And
Okay, the
can I
next
ask a question?
Yeah.
On the texting, so I knew the answer for the NovaChat, and I wasn't quite sure on the accent. So the way the pages are set up, when someone texts on a NovaChat and they get it back, you can press the button and you will have voice output. On the accent, is that the same way? When they receive a message, they would be able to see, do they have a message page? The way that,
I think so. I think so, Lisa. I think they get a notification. Yeah.
and then they'd be able to press the button and be able to read, hear that.
I believe. I can't swear to that, but I think that's the way it works.
Okay, yeah. I can get back to you on that for sure.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so voice assist is the whole option of using Alexa and Hey Siri. And so these are built into both the accent and the TouchChat NovaChat versions. And it's awesome because some people just choose to control their environment by having Alexa or Hey Siri do it. And again, I've been doing this, I've been around for a while, and it used to be that the high-end devices were the ones that had the computer environmental control options. But now with the advent of Hey Siri and Alexa, a simple system like TouchChat on an iPad gives the features of environmental control. So, and so there's a link that would open a page for Alexa and Hey Siri. And so here's the demonstration of Mira. She's a young girl that lives in Atlanta, and she uses, I think she's using TouchChat, or it might be a NovaChat, I'm not sure, and she uses her Alexa. So here's the demonstration.
Alexa, wake me up at 7 a.m. Alarm set for 7 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you for creating Alexa.
Okay, Lisa, I don't want to cut you short.
Go ahead.
You want me to?
I think just show the whiteboard. I think it's good to see the whiteboard. I mean, I can get through the information, plus the links will be there. So.
Okay, I'll show the whiteboard. Okay. Okay, so one thing that's fairly new, and it works on TouchChat, it's not yet working on NovaChat, but it will, is a feature called the whiteboard. And, I should clean this up first. Let me. Okay, just ignore what you just saw. So the way the whiteboard works, first of all, you can just draw with it. You can change the width to thick. You can do your colors. You can do some writing. Okay, we can clear. And another cool feature that I just learned about is you can actually edit this button. So I'm going to edit this page. And I'm going to import an image from the image library. So this is something that might be used at school. So this is a word search we found, and I'm going to say use this word search, and done, and save, and done. So now we have this word search that's part of this. And so I could go in, this is a fall word search, and I can choose my red, and I can go, I'm going to make my width thick, and then I can find those words. Okay, here's the word leaf, here's the word scarf, here's the word pumpkin, and you could save this by, you could save it by taking a screenshot. Lisa, is that how you would do it?
So yes, and you can take a screenshot of that and send it, and you can save it, but it's just something that you would pull up. So at this point right now, we'd be taking a screenshot and sending it in.
So I just took a screenshot of that, and then that's something I could turn in. So delete screenshot. So that's really a cool way that somebody might decide to use that feature of the whiteboard. And then the other thing I'm just going to show for 2 seconds that's coming in the next couple of months. The 80 word power has been updated so that on the category pages, the core is now built into it. So I can start from within the snacks page to say,
I want to eat candy, please. I want to eat candy, please.
and if somebody had just one word that wasn't available, you can select this key and you can spell one word
Fruit.
and it will pop you right back. So that will be available sometime at the beginning of December. Okay, Lisa.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it back over.
Okay.
Let's see. And oops, wrong screen. All right, so I'm going to, when I need to swap it. I didn't practice mine. I need to share my other screen. All right, so I think you're seeing the right screen now. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a few minutes about some of the resources that are available for to support WordPower. So the first one we'll talk about will be the Saltillo website that includes Chat Corner. Of course, it's going to go to another screen. One moment, please. On the Saltillo website, you will see Chat Corner when it loads. And so you'll see many supports here for WordPower. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of them really going through this. And you'll see they're hyperlinked within your documents there. And the first one would be to talk about the low-tech boards. So there are lots of low-tech or light-tech. I think we're going to be changing the name shortly to light-tech, but the communication boards here. So whether it's for a virtual background, there are many flip options to support the vocabularies. And then there are some single-page boards as well. So they're available for download, so you'll see all of these downloads available. We are actually in the process of updating all of them and plan to have them ready for 2022. So there will be a few updates coming there. And just wanted to let you know that those are there. You'll also find them within the vocabularies. So that was something that we didn't show, but under the groups page, and if you go to tools for WordPower, you will find the low-tech boards in the WordPower 60 Basic, the Picture WordPower Enhanced, and also even in the 25, there's a 50 location board. So some of those are Tell Me board. There's the Tell Me boards, and you'll also find Project Core boards as well. So there's a lot of different options for those light tech boards there. I did want to show these toolbars out of the way. So I showed you the website, and then these were some of those light tech boards, and there are posters available in some of these as well. Another use, so when we were doing some of that work for the Tell Me program, this is one of the Tell Me boards, but in the classroom they had used that on the floor. So sometimes the kids would stand on them. On the words, they did different activities, threw beanbags on them to be able to talk about it. And I can tell, like, this picture here is one of the older ones because of the sign that it was when we were beta testing everything.
Uh-huh.
But lots of fun things. They wore them on aprons. They had them everywhere. And it was really a great experience to work on that Tell Me program and be able to kind of test out these light tech boards there. another one that was, Nancy recently was involved in this playground board, and the little white pieces right there are Braille, so they made it accessible in multiple ways. And this is in Nancy's area in Maryland. This link, which is in the handout, will take you to, we offer playground boards, so they're in high resolution options. And so you'll see some of these options. If you wanted to get a playground board printed, you would be able to use those as they are here.
That's cool.
Another support that gets a lot of great feedback is the calendar. So we are in our 5th year of the calendar, and each calendar features a tip of the month and a story, an activity, and then there's an extension activity. So next year's calendar is all about science, and Courtney is one of our specialists on the training and implementation team, and she is working on the lab book right now. It's almost complete. It's very cool. So lots of great interactive activities there. The 2021 calendar, they're both available for download right now, or ask your consultant for one. The 2021 was focused on virtual visits, so you were visiting virtual places, and we used the stories and scripts as an option to write about the experience. And so you'll see scavenger hunts that'll lead you through them there. So the calendar. Another one that I know a lot of times people are looking for words to use. One of the things I'll say is that, following what the situation is rather than trying to have 5 target words, what's really meaningful for the student, and then trying to figure out how you incorporate that into their everyday life. So there are some ideas here for how to find the word, how to introduce it, make sure you're modeling, give you some sample sentences. So these words are all available in our Let's Teach Core area on the chat corner. The next one, Active with AAC. So these are lots of great activities where you're going to see 1, 2, 3 word combinations, some tips to help you engage. There's also an additional page to this that includes some fringe words. So if you wanted to use some of those fringe words as well, and gives you tips for picking some of those core words during those typical activities. Then, as I mentioned the Language Lab early on, you'll see the Language Lab is a subscription service. It's $19.95 a year, offers a variety of lesson plans and activities. And if you've never taken a tour with Jane Odom, I suggest you do that. She does a great tour of the lab, plus it's recorded. So if you ever wanted to look at that, the YouTube channel for the AAC Language Lab offers a lot of different activities that she does, a lot of great videos demonstrating how to do the activities. She does a Facebook Live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's another place within the lab, which I should show. And if I log in.
So you say that's $19 a year?
$19.95 a year. You can create smart charts, so it's called My Lab. So you can create your own. There's lots of different smart charts. But if, so there was one, Be Brave Little Penguin, somebody asked me to do. So I had created this based on the words that were in it. And this was a Unity one. So I think I cleared out all of mine. So you can create them. So let's say we wanted to select WordPower. I can pick which level. It's going to give me that individual vocabulary. So if I wanted to say go, it's going to tell me what it is. So I'd be able to print out this whole list. And you'll see it populate it, and then you can save it. So that's one of the things. And honestly, Jane does a really wonderful job taking you around the lab. And if you look at the YouTube channels, you'll see some recorded sessions with her as well. On our YouTube channels, on the Saltillo and the TouchChat YouTube channels, you'll see that on once a month, there's a WordPower Wednesday. So it's usually a 1 to 2 minute video that Courtney will do and just gives you a tip about WordPower. So trying to make everyone aware of just little pieces of WordPower that you might not be aware of, such as the page to keep you held on one page, which I can't think of it right now.
Oh, the lock page.
The lock page, there you go, word finding issues. So, and then we do a what's new video when we have a release, so you'll see what's new, so it's good to follow that. There's a read aloud, so those go along with the calendar, and you'll see some target words suggested throughout that as well. And then the last thing I wanted to say before we're getting close to the end here, there are some wonderful manuals that Nancy has written for the NovaChat and TouchChat and then Accent, and they're hyperlinked in that handout as well. And if you ever have a chance to take a look at those, they really walk you through what the how it's organized and some practice sentences and things like that. So whichever vocabulary you wanted to focus on, we could hyperlink to that, and you're going to see how it's broken down. So it really allows you to learn the vocabulary, which makes us better communication partners because we know what we want to model, we're in the moment, and we can do those kind of things there. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. We were really hoping to give an overview between yesterday and today, just the foundational things about WordPower so that it helps us all to become better communication partners. Understanding the organization of it and why things might have been developed the way they were usually empowers us to do better.